Hey y'all, I'm James Wright and welcome to my shop. And wow, it's been almost 7 years now and there have been a lot of things that have changed in my life and on this channel, and I thought this would be an interesting opportunity to describe, well, how did we actually get here? Let's dive in. One idea that I have tried to maintain on this channel throughout the entire time is as much reality as I can give you. I try to show the problems and the things that are busted and the things that I did wrong. And part of that is keeping the whole history of actually making videos. If you go back and watch my first video here,
working on the first of my...
You'd be surprised that my first video is actually still here on YouTube. Most channels take it down, and I really want to keep that reality of this is how the channel itself grew, not just how my woodworking changed. Wood by Wright has documented every step on my hand tool journey. My first video is literally buying this, bringing it home and saying, here is my first ever hand plane. Let's clean this up and get it to work. Unfortunately, it's not my whole woodworking journey, as I've been doing that since I was about 5, but I grew up in an entirely power tool shop. We didn't even own any planes. My dad had a set of chisels, but they were probably more dull than the flat blade screwdrivers, and they were just there because every wood shop needs chisels, right? Don't know what they're for, but they're there. So yeah, my experience was very different. I had all of the power tools. I could make anything I needed using just power tools. But eventually I came to the point where I couldn't use my power tools anymore, and I was stuck in a small shop, and hand tools really became the thing for me. And that's where Wood by Wright came from. Most of my life, my hobby has been collecting hobbies, and the hand tool side of it was just another hobby I figured I'd pick up for a little while, and then eventually it would fall off, like most other hobbies do. But this one has stuck around a little while. Now, one of the things with each hobby I get is I usually end up creating a YouTube channel devoted to that hobby just to document things for my own sake, so I can go back and look at them and learn from them, and it's a great place to store videos. But something funny happened when I started uploading videos about hand tool woodworking. Other people actually watched it. And that was kind of odd for me, and this was about 7 years ago. People asked questions, and so to answer them, I found it was just easier to make a video and say, well, this is why I did it that way. And then they asked another question, and so I made another video, and within a month or two of me starting to put out videos, it turned into, okay, well, here is how I do what I do. And I'm learning along with you, and this is a process of just exploring together. It was very weird. People actually wanted to watch what I was doing. If you go back and watch those early videos, they're pretty much trash. And most other YouTubers out there are going to take down those videos because they're painful to watch. But I like being able to keep that history on there. Actually, the video of making this hand plane, it was kind of the turning point for this channel because this was, well, it was something different. For me personally, this grooving plane was just one of those aha moments. I made this out of a scrap of firewood, an old beat up chisel that I got from Harbor Freight. It took me a few hours in the shop, and to this day, this is still my go-to tool when I need to make a 1/4 by 1/4 groove. I can use this so much faster than any power router out there. This is an efficient, this is a powerful, this is a really solid tool that a beginner hand tool made in a few hours, and to this day, it's still the one I grab. Now, that's not always the case. I've made dozens of routers over the years, but still the one I grab is my old Stanley 71. It's just a really good design, and I like it, and I find that this is what I prefer over most of the antiques. And that's been kind of the fun thing of learning what items work better as power tools, what items work better as hand tools, what items are better to make, what items are better to buy, what items are better to be antiques, what items are better to be brand new. Exploring those questions has really been a big part about what this channel is, because everyone is going to view those questions differently. Everyone is going to have a different answer. And that is what makes woodworking an amazing sport. There is no best way to do any particular method. There is no great method for this. There is no fastest way to do that. There is no most fun way to do this. It's all about you and what you want to do. Once I got that idea down, the channel really started to take off. And I wasn't focused as much on teaching the best method to do something or the historical method to do something. I'm teaching the fun method to do things. And understanding that my fun might be different from your fun. And so that means I'm going to show a couple different fun ways of doing it. And I'm not working on the most efficient way to do it. I'm not working on the most professional way to do it. I'm not working on the most accurate way to do it. I'm working on the way that may take 3, 4, 5, 10 times longer, but I really enjoy. And that's really the reason for all things hand tools, because it's not about the product, it's about the curls. It's about the memories. It's about the skills you learn. It's about the fun that comes along it. And so that is what I'm trying to focus the channel on, not how do you make something. Now that's what the video topics are all about because that's what people are searching for. But in how do I make it, I'm also teaching why am I doing it that way? What is the reason for doing this rather than grabbing a router? And that's what I really want to focus on here. Usually the problem with most new YouTube channels is they try to answer as many broad questions as they can. And you try to become the jack of all trades. And the more broad your topic is, the harder it is to hold on to an audience because no one out there wants to watch all of those topics. They each want to see something a little more specific. And so I've tended to fall into the niche of the niche of the niche of the niche. In YouTube, there's the how-to world, and then there's the crafting world, and then there's the woodworking world, and then there's the hand tool woodworking world. That's a really small niche of a niche of a niche of a niche. But even in that world, it's kind of hard to find a place. And everyone's going to have slightly different things they focus on. Rex Kruger, he is looking at the most financially feasible, functional way to get things done. And if you're looking for something on the cheap, that's the one to go look at. If you're looking at the most professional and perfect and specific way to do it, I'd probably go look at Rob Cosman. If you're looking at the most English way, the traditional manners, then you're probably going to want to look at Paul Sellers. If you're looking at the broad history of woodworking tradition, you're probably going to want to look at Shannon Rogers. And the list goes on and on. It's about finding the specific niche of the niche of the niche of the niche of the niche that you want to actually talk about. So if you're trying to get your channel going, then I would suggest you try and find a portion of your niche that you actually want to talk about. And for me, that's the fun of woodworking. I like to talk about what in this particular step and method do I actually enjoy to do. And it's different from other people because I'm not talking about what's the most affordable. I will mention that from time to time. I'm not talking about what's the most traditional. I'm not talking about what's the most professional. I'm going to talk about why do I want to do this? Why is this more fun than grabbing a router and doing the exact same thing that way? And that right there is what's different about Wood by Wright over other channels. I focus on the fun of woodworking. And until you find that specific thing you want to talk about, your passion's really not going to come through and the audience isn't going to follow quite as well. I don't talk about the YouTube algorithm or video styles because, in all honesty, the algorithm's always going to be changing. So if you try and focus on that, you're chasing a moving target that you're never going to fully hit. And when you do actually hit it, then the target moves and now you're stuck with what you had. And talking about video styles is something that is going to morph over time with you. It's one of those things that I can't just say, this is how you do it, because every channel is going to have a different style. And the only way you can find your style is to do it, and eventually your style will shake out. If you go back and watch my early videos when I'm making this grooving plane, it's a very, very different video. Quality is horrible. Video format's very different. Talking is different. I'm about 30 pounds lighter. Yeah, lots of things have changed. But that's a good thing because if things stay the same, then you run into problems. And even here on this channel, the two most common comments that I get is, you talk too much, or you don't talk enough, you didn't answer this question. And so that's why I split Wood by Wright up into two different channels about 2.5 years ago. I have the original channel, which at the time was the easy watching, no talking, ASMR, And that was what YouTube really liked at the time, and that channel was growing and taking off. Well, now it's actually kind of switched a bit to the second channel, which is where I do all the teaching and information, and that's where you're at. And that actually YouTube has been interested in more. And I'm sure it's going to switch back and forth over the years. Keeping them separate does make the audiences a little better. If someone wants me to talk less, then they go over to the first channel. If someone wants me to talk more and teach more, then they come over to this channel. And so I can kind of specify things out that way. I've really found that to help and to be a bit of a bonus for this channel. I know there are some people who watch both, and thank you for that. Does mean a lot. But yeah, it's kind of geared towards two different audiences. And that's probably the biggest takeaway I can give to anyone is don't try to be the all for all. You're gonna get bad comments no matter what you do, and focus on the good comments. Focus on that small group that you really connect with, that you really want to share your specific passion with, that niche of the niche of the niche of the niche, and one particular topic of that niche. And that is the audience which you will connect with, and that is the audience you will build. And with 7 billion people on this planet, you're going to find more than enough followers eventually who are interested in that specific tiny little topic that you can become the voice on. If you try to please everyone, you're going to please no one. This video has been a little bit different. I know I'm not exactly talking about woodworking, but the two kind of go together because I am both a woodworker and a YouTuber. And when those two roads cross, there are often a lot of questions. And I have a passion for both. I love making videos. I love doing woodworking. And that's kind of what this channel is about. I want to talk about the things that I really love and am passionate about. If you have a YouTube channel you'd like me to take a look at, then hop on the Hive Mind groups. I have one on Facebook, and on there I'm going to have a chat where everyone can list all of their channels down below, and I'd love to take a look at those, and I will subscribe to them. Also, if you go onto Discord, we have a whole server on there where we have other channels, so you can list your channel on there. If you put up your own videos, you can put them on there, and I do look forward to seeing what you make. I love watching new channels and things that people come up with. I get a lot of great ideas from watching other YouTube channels, and thank you for that. A very different video indeed. If you have ideas of things that I should make a video about, let me know those. I do read through all the comments down below, and I do get a lot of my video ideas from that. This is one that a few people have been asking. How did you come about being who you are? I hope this answers the question. I'm sure there'll be much more. Throw those comments down below. Anytime you do put a comment down below, or you hit like, subscribe, and share, those things help the channel out. The algorithm, YouTube, yes, it does rule everything, and anytime you do that, that does help us out. Thank you for that. It gets us in front of more channel, helps the channel to grow. Thank you. That means more than I can say. For those of you who want to take it one step farther, there are a bunch of names scrolling over here. They are the patrons on Patreon. You know how it works. Honestly, without patrons, I wouldn't be here. Patrons are the encouragement and the driving force that keeps me going. And without patrons, we wouldn't exist. And we are completely sponsored by you, the viewer, and thank you. That means more than I can say. If you'd like to find out more about Patreon, there's links down below. Click the little join button, become a member here. We do have special perks for both members and patrons. And yeah, on that note, I think I'll do it for now. Until next time, have a wonderful day. So how did I become a YouTuber? I put videos on YouTube.